for a portable workshop-based seat.
It's the best seat in the house.
It's
handy because I can sit down on the brakes.
Yeah, you're not sitting on my bloody eater. Because that's
I'm not.
Can I know?
What I was going to say is I can sit down on my brakes and weld shit up while I'm eating a sandwich.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
I'm going to use this top quality forklifter. And have you noticed that I have breathed life back into my twat mug?
You have rejuvenated the handle that you broke
Second
twice.
time round. Right. So, this week, I don't think we're starting anything. No. We're not doing any silly projects, because to be honest, we have had a dog of a week, haven't we? You managed to poison yourself with a sausage roll or something.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
No.
Ice cubes were needed.
Ice cubes were needed and ice cold toilet paper. So you were man down for at least 24 hours, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a bit ill.
I just think we worked dawn to dusk all week. I am knackered.
Yeah, you've done some long hours.
No, I'm a silly old sod, because to be honest, what I have not realised is, and it did occur to me whilst looking in the mirror this morning, that perhaps I'm not 25 anymore. And that maybe what I should stop trying to do is do as much work as I used to do in my 20s, because to be honest, I'm nearly 45 and I can't do it anymore. I am knackered. Anyway, so we thought we'd give you lot, I suppose we'll do an update, because otherwise, we were going boating, weren't we? Because we have had lots of calls for the boating. So we decided this morning, after we'd done the customers, that what we were going to do was jump in a Mercedes van and go and pollute a river just outside of Wareham with the boat. Apart from, Al broke it. Not seriously. Have not seriously destroyed the boat. But one went rhinoceros as a sing on the pull start cable and it died.
Yeah, you broke your cable.
Twice I've put it back together. So what I have got to admit, that this 1970 piece of nylon pull start cable is done.
It's had its day.
Because every time I pull on it, it breaks. So I'm going to have to go and buy a new bit next week. So I need a new bit of this. But next Saturday, we are going boating. So next Sunday's episode, boating.
Yes.
Boating. We will get to boating this week, because I'm getting.
We will. We need a play day, don't we?
I need a holiday.
We both need a holiday.
I do have to, in a minute, go and retrieve the van I left in France.
Oh, François.
I'm going to have to go and repatriate it. But I haven't quite figured out quite how I'm doing it yet, because I've got to get out there, obviously without driving. So flying seems to be nigh on impossible. So I have to go to Stansted to fly to Poitiers, which I don't really fancy, because Stansted's miles away.
You could always ride your boat across.
Well, I suggested to the missus that I might have a motorcycle and that I could motorcycle down there, put the van in the back.
Of the motorcycle?
Put the motorcycle in the back of the van and then come back like that. At which point, Madam pointed out that, one, I haven't got a licence for motorcycling. Well, nothing bigger than 50cc's. I wasn't too bothered about that. And the fact that, seeing as I'm not a motorcyclist, maybe the first sort of 900cc adventure for 500 miles might not be a very sensible idea.
No.
I thought that was a rubbish idea, and I, of course, would be absolutely fine. So, and if I buy a motorcycle in a minute, I've always fancied an Africa Twin.
Yeah?
The big...
Yeah.
I mean, I'd fall off of it and hurt myself all the time. So I wouldn't use it, but it'd be something to put in the office and look at. But then I looked at the price of Africa Twin, so I've got to find a cheap... Anyone has a cheap Africa Twin doesn't necessarily need to work. They're Honda, aren't they?
Are they Honda?
I think they're Honda. Colin, the MOT man, ex-MOT man, had one sat in his workshop for ages because I tried acquiring that.
Oh. I'm not too sure what they are, to be honest.
Well, I think a man could Africa Twin without the correct licence all the way to the south of France without a problem. It's only one good way to die, and that's trying, isn't it? But, shall I show you the other marvellous thing that I have done this week?
Why not?
I'm going to have to go and start it and drive it in here. Because we may have rejuvenated on something we weren't expecting to rejuvenate upon.
Yeah, I'm going to have to eat my words.
Well, I don't think we're going to have to eat our words. It's going to need a bit of love, isn't it?
Yeah.
But last week's delivery that we thought was probably going to be past its best Mummy actually poked at it a bit.
Wasn't as bad as
Wasn't as quite as bad as I initially thought it was going to be.
When you quickly steamed it off,
It looked a load better.
it had one of those moments, didn't it? Where it's like, actually...
And then, using one's happy laptop, actually figured out what was wrong with it. Because obviously it had been completely electronically dismantled inside. So you thought there was going to be a fairly major ECU computer, something based fault, and it looked horrific. So I decided, I think it was on Monday, that maybe I ought to just plug it in, because I found the diagnostic plug dangling out of one lump of wire and not attached to a dashboard. And then pretty quickly figured out what they'd done. So I could go and get that in a minute. We'll have to turn the camera around and I'm going to huzzah it in here at great speed. And then we have found a home for it as well.
We have. It's been quite a turnaround, really, isn't it? From something that we
literally
thought...
it has turned around, because it was there and now it's outside over there. And also we have MOT'd.
Yeah.
Le T4.
Le T4's MOT'd.
Ready. Road legal. I've just got to put oil and filter on it, because I did promise them I'd do that, and I've bought it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change the oil now. We've run it a bit. And then next week, nice people, you can have your T4 back next weekend, take it away. We would have done it this weekend, but I went to do the oil yesterday and then I didn't have a ramp because I got something else on it. And
yeah, it's been one of those. It's been one of those weeks, isn't
manic weeks. Right, I'm going to go and get last week's delivery.
Ah, sounds like a plan.
Plan.
Da, 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 da. Here he comes, Sterling Moss. Oh. Yes. Da da da. There it is.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
So, as you will be able to see, I have made the damper van function. And actually, after a bit of a wash and an assessment, this might not have been such a bad purchase.
Oh.
So, what they'd basically done, which took a bit of figuring, and the man did mention the fact that apparently all the problems had started when they'd lost the key.
Let me guess, they couldn't get it started.
Well, no, they had a key man out who made them a new set of keys, because there's two of them, with chips in, and then coded the keys, because obviously this has got a key reader, and then like a WPS box in behind the dashboard that talks to the key and then turns the computer on. And since that point, it had never gone. So we assumed that might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
So we tried talking to the WPS box, and it said, there's no communication.
Me no speaker, no.
No, well, nothing. No, the computer, the thingy com computer wouldn't find it, and you thought that's a bit strange, because it obviously turns over, but it won't fire. So it had got a power supply to the fuel pump that had seized solid, because obviously I had to take the fuel pump tank out and deal with that afterwards. That was a fairly manky experience. But I thought, right, well, it's difficult to test these little boxy things. So what I did was I had an old 2.5 SDI computer with a WPS and a coded chip already. So I thought, right, put the chip in the key in here, put the WPS box in, and see if I know that works, whether I can read that box, even though technically it isn't coded to the computer. It won't go, but that'll give me an idea. And it did, and all of a sudden the computer went straight into the immobiliser, was yattering away at the WPS box, and then it was like, would you, and it scroll through the list of useful things, and it said code immobiliser box to computer. I was like, can't be that easy, so I hit yes, and it said your box and thingy is coded. Right. So then the computer came alive, you could read it. Obviously then we had to make the fuel supply work, so we did that. And then we had to assemble all the wiring that was removed, but so via, obviously, I think an exhaust shield hanging off.
Yeah.
And some other annoyances. It has got a fuel leak. Said M11 2.3 gas converted Mercedes petrol engine fitted in the Volkswagen is perfect.
Yeah.
So, after finding 3 million dash screws off of other vehicles, a load of random other stuff, a battery tray, sorting all the wiring out, putting it all back together.
Brum.
Brum. I mean, there are some issues, like the brake pedal, that doesn't seem to be doing anything at the moment. There's a bit of an exhaust blow on the front there.
Yeah.
But everything on it seems to work. So, a friend of mine happened to mention to me last week that she was looking for a sensibly priced camper van.
Oh.
It didn't need, and she kept sending me pictures of horrible Talbot things, and I was like, no, disaster, LTV, no. And it occurred to me, yes, it needs a bit of structural on that bit of sill there that's fell off, but I might know some blokes that do stuff like that. Apart from the fact the skylight leaks in the middle, which is easily cured, the interior actually, we could give them, is pretty good. So she's having this with an MOT once I've made the brake work, welded that stuff up, tidied it up a bit and painted the roof. So we came to an agreeable deal. She's over the moon with it. And to be honest, from here, actually now we've washed it.
It's not too bad, is it, really?
No, I mean, it's a big old bus, isn't it? So I viewed that as quite a success. And it's got both the wing mirror trims missing, the wing trims missing that you can never find.
Yeah.
So are the two I've been hoarding, I might have to donate and put on. But yeah, it's alive.
Excellent.
Excellent. So, now, what I had decided is that this hoarding, Mercedes hoarding thing, is getting quite bad.
You've got quite a few.
Yes, so what we're going to insert in a minute is I have this 06 plate CE220 CDI E-Class. That's like 4 owners on the 4th. It's done 81,000 miles. It's got an annoying limp mode fault. And it's been sat here for 6 years. Maybe 5. And then I might have to admit,
Not going to get round to it.
no, I think I know what's wrong with it, but it's just having the time. Put it this way, it's sat here so long that I've had to replace all 4 tyres because I put 4 new tyres on it and a new starter battery, a new little backup battery last year. Got it working, nearly got the fault fixed, got busy, put it back there, and then haven't touched it again since. So before the tyres rot out again, all the batteries die, and then it ceases to function again, perhaps maybe selling it to someone,
Yeah?
parting with it, because to be honest, it's a good old bus. It's actually quite tidy. I mean,
It's
the number
really
plates,
tidy.
the number plates have deteriorated slightly in 6 years, and the paint probably isn't quite as good as it used to be.
Is that a metallic black?
Stop using Rob's van to prop my tea on. Next, we'll use Nigel's front bumper.
It's got a tea tray on the front of it.
It's got a tea tray on the front of it. So I moved this out. Black, slightly grubby, been parked here for years. Front of the building fell over on it. It'll want that. That was from the big winds a few years ago. Put a bit of scratch in it there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got black leather. I think it was finance company. Then the bloke that it came, we acquired it from. So it's like 4 owners, but it's actually technically only 2. It's actually quite a nice thing. So it's a 646 single turbo, automatic, 81,000 miles. Don't think there was any service history because you couldn't find it. But it went into limp mode. It was in central London. Mercedes spent £4,000 on it trying to get it out of limp mode. Gave it back to him and said, we don't know what's wrong with it. So he bought a new one. Like you do.
Okay, yeah.
And then I sort of ended up with it, and it's been sat here ever since. It does drive. It's got something to do between the turbo variator motor and the EGR valve, because when you first go, it's all bleh, and then if you let off and stamp on it again, it'll take off like a scolded cat, and you can drive it all day. But every time you stop, it it goes to stall and then it will go. And I think I've nailed it down to 2 things, which I have got, but I've never got around to bolting to it. And then it just keeps getting sat in varying places around here. So what I'm going to do, I think the best bet is, unless anyone wants to make me a real, I mean, what's it worth? It's probably worth like a tenth of what it was 6 years ago. But it's a really nice just a W211, and it really oughtn't to be sat here going to hell. And even if I fixed it, what am I going to do with it?
That makes someone a lovely motor.
Yes, it is quite a nice car. So that's to go. So,
It's rather posh, isn't it?
oh yeah, it's got all the good. I think it is an avant-garde.
Yeah,
avant-garde.
yeah,
Is it an avant-garde?
Yes, it's on the striping down there.
Yeah. So I mean, we can bring everyone in here and have a look. But I mean, it is basically just a black Merc that's been sat here for years that someone really could be getting some use out of with a bit of tinkering. That Al oughtn't to be hoarding because it's not doing it any favours. It's even got some wood trim.
It has.
I know, and unlike the dark piano type wood trim rather than the really garish orange stuff they normally give you.
Yeah.
So, second avant-garde based hoarding experience. So I acquired this from a mate of mine who deals in, he buys scrap cars and weighs them in. So he came in with this and I was like, ooh. It's only a C180, so it's quite, it's, well, I don't even know what reg it is. 02. One owner, just on 100, 16 Mercedes service stamps. C180 automatic. Now the people, it came from Devonshire somewhere, so the people basically, what had happened was the battery had gone flat and they couldn't get in it.
Okay.
So, because the key had stopped functioning and they didn't realise that the little
didn't pull it
tag
out.
come out. So it just got left in the corner of a posh house courtyard in a shed.
Because one wouldn't know how to use a
No
normal
one,
key.
obviously, so there it sat. I think it was grandfather's, and then he passed away, he wasn't driving, and there it sat. So basically, when it turned up, Mark had managed to unlock it, but the bonnet wouldn't open, so we managed to get the bonnet open, battery on it, it burst straight into life. So it came with 2 keys, it's got full service history, it had the normal Mercedes silver paint pickle. So we sort of got halfway through curing that. And then where it had been old person, there were a few bits of trim knocked off the back bumper. So basically, I've got everything to fix it, but it'll need a bit of paint work. Because, I mean, it's grey leather, it's cement, it's lovely.
Yeah. The original stereo system in there.
Yeah, it's never been touched. I am the second owner because I think it didn't have a logbook and I had to apply for one. So basically, and once the back bumper putting on, a bit of Mercedes Brilliant Silver tooshed back over it because we did start and then it got put back outside again.
Yeah.
It's not worth a toffee crisp, really, but it seems a shame to throw it away. There's these are in the boot, there's all the parking sensors to fix it are in the boot, the bumper is inside, everything is here. It's got brand new discs and pads all the way around because I put them on it with a grand plan of getting to it. Because it had been parked for ages and then never didn't parked it for ages. So the brakes are brand spanky.
Yeah.
I ain't never gonna. I've got 2 keys. I ain't never gonna get to it, am I?
So again, that could also make somebody a lovely little car.
The car, but I mean, I'll try and put it on eBay or make me an offer, or whatever. It's a nice thing. I mean, it's not worth much, but if you're good with a paint gun, buy a battery, it'll work.
Yeah.
So, number 2, things to part with, and your Mercedes hoard, and then we'd have some parking space.
It's an elegance, isn't it?
It's a C180 automatic. It's not a compressor or anything shiny, but it's really low mileage. It's 2 owners, and it's got full Mercedes service history. It's all stamped up in the book.
Yeah.
It wants a wash, and it wants a bit of paint work down the bottom of the doors, over the wheel arch, and all the lacquers fell off the back bumper.
Below the body line there.
Yeah, no, it's not
nice
massively difficult to fix. So obviously, man still hoarding his riot van. I must get to doing something with my camper because I haven't been camping for ages. That's just festing there, and the Kangoo is staying. So, thing number 3 to part with. Now, K595 CGS, you can tell how long I've owned this, or my mother has, is this Audi 80 convertible, which is suffering, to be honest. My mum, I used to buy and sell cars, and I came home with this, it must be 12 or 14 years ago. She fell in love with it, kept it, but the trouble was that we never used it. So it used to do, if you look at the MOT history, it did like less than 200 miles a year.
Crikey.
Yes, and then it needed to be moved, and then it looks awful. We'll bring the camera around here in a minute, but it's got I put a brand new roof on it. It'll want a bit of a clean.
Yeah, that'll scrub up.
It's got black leather interior.
Ooh.
It's a 2.5 20 valve manual. It has got a manual roof, which is the only downside, but on the upside that stops it from packing up.
Yep.
I've got enough service history to sink a ship, and my mother has finally admitted to the fact that it really needs to go, and it needs to go to a good home, to someone. If any of you, same again, I know it well. I unseized the fuel pump last year, but the main fuel line from front to back is leaking like a sieve.
Okay.
It definitely runs. Everything functions. The tyres have had it, but it is unmolested. The door card might have slightly fell off, but not bad. It's the stitch panel in the middle. The glue's got all gacky. But structurally, it's pretty good. I mean, Christ, it's got ivy growing up the wheels. Look at it. It's got a forest growing on the back. It needs to go. It needs to go to someone.
Needs some love.
Needs some love. So what I'm probably going to do is get it out, try and blow the tyres up. And I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get it running, whether we got time. I've got 2 keys. I've got full service history. I mean, it did have a cam belt, but it was like 8-10 years ago, and it is just sat here getting ruined, and we could do with the space.
And it's a 2.5, yeah?
5-cylinder, 2.5 5-cylinder. So basically, like, we're going to go on to another one in a minute, which is going to cause a load of trouble, because I'm trying to persuade Madam to part with her one, which she's not very keen on the idea. But same again, it's been sat here for 5 years. We don't use it.
Because these had some get up and go, didn't they?
No, this thing goes like, I mean, they didn't do a quattro, I don't think, but I mean, it is front wheel drive, isn't it? Because the engine's slung right in front, and it was a rapid old thing, and it may look awful, but to be honest, I think there's a tiny little bit of rust over there that's been there since when we got it in the 2000s, and I mean, sadly, it has just been sat getting dirty and grubby. I mean,
But you'll be surprised with just a steam off on how...
Oh, yes. There is no water in the boot, or there wasn't until I opened that.
How
I mean, I think if you dragged her out, blew her tyres up, I mean, the tyres are rotted out. We'll bring the camera around here.
I can't see any rust on this side, though, Al.
And there's a little bit. There's a little bit. I know the exhaust is foobarred. There's a bit. I thought it was there. It is there. That's the only bit on it.
That's nothing.
No. I think there's a little tiny hole below it. But I mean, poor thing. It needs dragging out and sorting out, doesn't it? So yes, 2.5, 1992, 2.5 Audi 80 manual. I mean, you can see. Is the door open your side? Can you lean in and pull the handle on my side if it'll open?
No, she's locked.
Is she locked up? I must have got all.
Yeah.
There must be 2 sets of keys then, because.
Yeah, there's one inside.
Yeah, that's not a missing set of keys, is it? No, there's 1 set of keys there and 1 set of keys inside. So, yeah, no, my mum's never going to drive it again. But it's saying it doesn't really want to be cut up for bits. It wants to.
It needs to be revived, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we're never.
It's too good to.
So that's number 3 to go. Thing that needs to go. If I can talk the wife into parting with it. Mm-hmm. This is M, isn't it? N 95 2.5 2.6 V6 Audi 80 coupe. Oh, not coupe, convertible. It's called Dolores. I bought it for my missus as a present when we first got together, and she's quite attached to it. Apart from the fact, same again, it ended up MOT'd every year. It did have a garage, then it lost its garage, and it's pretty ruined. It has some really good bits on it. It does have a genuine Audi S2 RS2 front bumper.
Yeah,
which is probably worth more than the car. Yep, a really rare. It's got an Audi S2 leather steering, 3-spot S-line leather steering wheel. Big set of OZs that are probably totally out of thingy these days. It did run. I think it immobilised itself and then it got dragged on here, and it's just going to rack and ruin. I mean, the roof's pretty much needs replacing. The back window was always bad. It's automatic.
Yeah.
The engine is good. It's got an electro hydraulic roof. And if I can talk her into it, it needs to go to a new home because it's just getting absolutely trashed. There's nowhere dry to store it. And I mean, it's in a nice colour, it's marble purple, but you can see, I mean, like the wing is starting to peel now, which it wasn't. I've got the back bench seat was always the worst. I've got a new seat, a replacement seat, but the fronts are getting pretty bad now. It's got grey leather.
Yeah.
She needs to find a new home.
She needs some love.
Yeah, so I think we'll try over the next week or so if I can talk Madam into it, either to save it and find it somewhere dry. Might be worth trying to do a will it start, can we? Because it's, I mean, I pulled it on the back of this recovery truck a year ago, and I ain't moved the truck or the thingy because this is sort of retired now till we take the body off.
Yeah.
And this is just getting trashed.
It's not going to get any better.
No, it's not going to get any better sat there, and perhaps admitting defeat and same again. I mean, that could go if I can talk Madam into it, because it's a shame because someone could sort of turn it back into the. I mean, it was a brilliant car when it was alive. We used it every summer, but same again, it only ever used to get 500-700 miles worth of use. I mean, it goes like a stabbed rat. So,
and that's the 2.6. So what sort of brake horsepower would this one have had?
no idea. It's 3.6 petrol. So that needs to, yes, talk Madam into getting rid of Dolores. So, last but not least, now this is Odd Job. Odd Job. Hang on a minute, not every squidgy one works anymore. So Odd Job is a friend of mine's, well, father. He passed away last year. Lovely man called Alistair Miller. This is a 90, I would assume 30s Austin 10. Would have originally been like a 4-door car with a boot, and it was converted into a Woody. And it was Alistair's pride and joy. He sent it off to be restored, and 6 years later we had to go and get it back. And this is as far as that. There is a brand new wooden, because it's been turned into a Woody. There's a brand new wooden frame there. Everything is here, but Odd Job is a massive reassembly job. We rescued it for him, and it's been dry stored. I mean, as you can see, we're in the back of the lorry. Yeah. It was put in here out of the way a year ago. It's been here too. They want to pass it on to someone who wants to do it. I'd love to take it on, but I don't have the time for any of my stuff, let alone to restore this. So it needs a fairly major overhaul, as you can see. Engine is fine and free and works. It drove in to the place that took its part.
Oh, wow.
And he used to roll around in this. There's lots of photographs and stuff, and there's a fair bit of history. So it's nicknamed Odd Job. So Odd Job, I'm sure Odd Job is an Austin 10. So that is on the list of things that need to be re-owned. So if you're interested in this, drop me an email. I will work between the two. I mean, I have no idea what it's worth. I think in a lot of ways, if someone was going to take it on and do it, there could be a really good deal struck. I mean, I know that a wooden frame cost them 3,000 or 4,000 quid.
Okay.
But because it was Alistair's pride and joy, if someone was, I mean, the trouble is as Derek from Matthewson says all the people that were in love with these things have gone, and the younger generation
Don't appreciate this.
well, not they don't appreciate it, but to be honest, you're restoring a 1985 Capri. I'm beating two 1980s Peugeots back together. This is more my father's type of thing than it is, but I mean, it could be made into a really nice thing. But financially, it's one of those. It'll cost you more to do it than it's ever worth, which is the problem. But I mean, it's quite safe sat here in the dry, but something needs to happen to it at some point.
Yeah.
And so, if you've got any interest in a say, I'm not sure on the year. I would have thought 30s. I'm at Austin car converted into a Woody. I mean, I reckon it was converted into a Woody in the 40s, 50s, and everything is here. And then I think I've got to go and pick up from Alex is the windscreen frame. Got forgotten, but we did go back and get that. But so there's doors, seats, but it is the wings back there. There's all sorts of stuff. So if anyone's interested, shout me. I will talk to them, and if it is sensible enough, but don't think you're just going to buy it, take it apart, because that's not the idea. No, it is treasured, and it's a shame. To be honest, it would almost have been better left alone, because you wouldn't be starting from someone else's dismantled and abandoned. But I mean, the company that did it weren't bad. They just had a load of bad luck during COVID, and it's been sat here ever since. Right, onward. If you want a better idea of the front of it, the radiator grill is just beside you. The radiator is here. Everything is here, but you can see that it basically is taking apart, cleaning, painting, bushing, and redoing.
The chrome on the grill is actually quite good.
Yeah, it was a shame because it was still in its original paint, but I think that's past the saving now, not by us, but by where it was stored. Yeah. So anyway, right, let's get this wagon shut back up again.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, it's even the first time you've ever seen Odd Job.
This is the first time I've seen Odd Job. I mean, you told me about Odd Job.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I say, it was sat in the workshop for a long time. It just takes up too much sort of working space. Mm-hmm. But it would be a nice project for someone. So if anyone wants a Austin 10, would he?
It could be made into a great car again.
Oh, it could be, yeah. No, I mean, say it is quite a cool, fun little thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much me parting with stuff. We did part with this. Colin the Bearded Explorer bought this. It's in need of a bit of paintwork. And as you will see, the radiator is leaking. He wants me to MOT it and it can leave. So everything is loose on my Founder radiator.
Okay.
So I think next week we might video that. We'll get this to a point of MOT-able.
Yeah.
And it can leave. It's one of the really, like the second video I ever did was getting this going again.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's got a bloody great... That's the 3.2 out of a W124. It's quite dangerous, this thing. Runs lovely. It needs a temperature stat on the front because at the moment it knows it's cold, so it doesn't turn the choke on. And which makes it a bit difficult to start. And the radiator is weeping, so that needs doing. And then we've just got to go through the lights. Definitely get through the lights, tidy it, clean it, spruce it, and then we'll get it MOT'd, and then Colin's going to roar around in this. Yeah. So anyway, slightly random video, but but it needs doing. We need to part with some things.
Yeah. Well,
so if any of this stuff interests you, email me. I'm probably going to just clean it all up and put it on eBay, but if it can be done without, and then that'll give us some more space, and the stuff's not going to get completely ruined. And I'm now going to go and fire my blue recovery truck up, blow the tyres up, back it in here, and try and dry my poor Audi Dolores Space convertible out, because I didn't realise it had got quite as damp as it has.
Yeah.
So I felt sorry for the Audi. So unbelievably, all right, the Sprinter's been parked out there a year, 18 months. That fired straight up. I know this looks like a nice recovery truck, but the cab is completely gone, hence why we've stopped using it. You can actually look down the back of the cab, and the skins, start again, Hemsley. And the skins have separated, so this has got to have the body off onto something else when I get 5 minutes. There's a possibility that leaving this thing for 18 months covered in schmew may possibly have unimmobilised itself, and it might start, which would be amazing. What on earth have I done with the filler cap? There is the filler cap. So, dear old Dolores, what do you reckon? I've hoovered the water out of it. Poor old thing. That's a fuel pump. Right, it may sound like a grenade, but these Audi V6s, the cam buckets empty out when you leave it for a long time, which is how I ended up with it in the first place. I cannot believe that. Bless her. Right, we'll let that warm up. Man might back it back a bit, lift it off with a ramp, poor old thing. I cannot believe the thing started. Last time I spent hours trying to get it to go. It's obviously forgotten that it was immobilised. I can't even remember how to open the lights on this thing. Hammer. That looks identifies as a hammer. Oh, my ramps are still in here. That's a start. Ooh, 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 ooh. You go escaping, thank you. Well, that's fine, missed that. Block of wood. Unbelievably, the handbrake Sprinter recovery truck handbrake is rubbish. That never happens with a 4.6 ton Sprinter. Right, I suppose the next one will be see after 18 months. Yeah, 18 months, I don't know, time flies past. It's whether this thing will actually move. It's possible. I'll get it in gear. Yes. Reverse. Jesus Christ, have we got any brakes? Yeah, I've got brakes. We ain't got any electric windows. No. Yeah, I'll stick to that, shouldn't I? I've got one wheel that goes around and another one that don't. Poor old goat. Doesn't smell very nice in there. Smells a bit mousy. Hammer. Decent sized hammer. And I've even left it in reverse. Oh well, be alright, won't it? So we can get it backwards on a ramp. Oh, no turnage. Well, I almost cannot believe that that is running and moves. Last time, it was a must be a couple of years ago. Time does fly. I moved it, it was in dry storage, moved it, parked it out there, turned it off, went back to it an hour later, it immobilised itself, the fuel pump wouldn't come on. They've got some strange key built-in immobiliser through the door locks, and it would not start for 6 months parked out there. We kept having to go disconnecting the battery. And it does seem to be chicken. I mean, before anyone shouts at me, I rescued this car 14, 15 years ago. It was due to get scrapped. I bought it from a man in Brighton for 400 quid purely for this front bumper, which I wanted for an S2 I was doing, and the steering wheel, which was off of an S2. I didn't want any of the rest of it, because he'd been told by his garage he'd left it parked a year, gone back to it, and it was making some horrible knocky noises. bit like what it's doing now. They told him that the oil pump had failed and it was knackered. So I didn't really care because I didn't want that bit. So I got back to the yard, previous yard to this, put a battery on it. It had half a tank of petrol. It started straight away, and I thought I'll just let it tick over, see if it comes around. It sat there for an hour and a half, and all of a sudden it started to quieten down. Shut up. We changed the oil, serviced it. Madam saw it. It was gone. We had to fix it and MOT it. And I'm quite impressed that move. So what I'm going to do now, I've hoovered it out. The interior was knackered when I bought it. It's got grey leather. The seats were always really badly sun cracked and knackered, and someone had stuck something through the rear bench seat and ripped it. But I've got a rear bench seat for it, but I think the front seats might be getting a bit past it now. I mean, there is technically a good car between the two of them, because the green one's got a mint black leather interior and a really nice roof. But I don't really want to take the green one apart. I don't know. I'd rather sell it to one of you lot for you to make it work again and love it. And then I can buy a roof somewhere if you can still get one, and search the world for some seats or have them rebuilt or sell it. So I think it's a bit gooey inside, and I think we've had some mousies because it smells a bit mousy. But I know it's like 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, so sod it. I'm going to go and clean this off because I'm feeling bad for the state of it. Drive it out there, steam it, park it in here for the weekend, put a heater inside it, dry it out. Well, unbelievably, it's running, and it's did what it did last time. It's quiet right out. All the tappets have gone quiet. The radiator fans are kicking in and out quite cheerfully. The lights all still work. The heater blower motor, after it chewed up all the leaves that were in it, is functioning perfectly. Gearbox is fine. Brakes work. They're very rusty. And currently, the gearbox is sitting around 80 degrees. It's charging perfectly. It has the gauges in here. I'll show you them in a minute. And at tick over, it's got 30 pounds of oil pressure when it's warm. All the interiors are working. The windows are working. The roof not working, but that we know what that is. That'll be in the boot again. The roof is looking very sad and sorry for itself. I'll just go and give it a bit of a wet revvy a minute. The bonnet cable is stuck, but that's easily fixed. But bless its heart, the annoying beeper that tells you the lights are on is working too. I think we might have just evicted some rodents. And when Madam sees this, my chance of selling this or persuading her to sell this has completely gone down the toilet. Now, the thing to remember here is these cars 15 years ago were worthless. Absolutely worthless. It's like now. I mean, when we first had this, Madam desperately wanted an Audi A4 convertible, and they were lots and lots of money. You can buy an Audi A4 convertible now. Someone offered me an 07 plate one last week for 500 quid, and I said no, a black S-Line one. These were the same. I mean, they were I used to break these for spares. They were 100 quid if you were lucky. Like, I mean, I got given loads of them. So I suppose the fact that it's been sat around for years, at least it's survived. I'll show you guys inside because the interior is bad, but the interior was bad when I got it in 2012, I think, or 10, I can't remember. Even the lights work. So here we go. As you can see, it is a tad damp. So basically, The carpets are a bit nasty, and these seats were well past it 10 years ago. The back bench, lever this forwards, was knackered, but I have a back bench. I bought that 3 years ago for 100 quid off of eBay because I thought there was a fair chance I was never going to get another one. But if we can swing in down here, you'll see, oh, hang on. I mean, even all the lights are working. So it is, that's the gearbox oil temperature. That's the oil pressure just there in the middle, running just around 30. The one on the end is the charge gauge. The dash lights are alive. There's the Audi S2 steering wheel that the man bought it for. And to be honest, it's not looking horrific. The roof, the back window is knackered. They completely, as you can see, it was very out. They do unzip, but I think it's past the unzipping now. It had that lump of lacquer peel on it 10 years ago, and someone seems to have liberated the top of my aerial for some reason. But backlights are working. I am quite amazed, and if I open this door, the door button, obviously, I don't know whether it only... See, it squawks at you! As you can see, the seats are well shot. It's a 2.6 V6 automatic. I mean, they were quite a thing in their day. And trust me, it's fast. I have tested it. And the good old, God Christ knows, set of 90s big OZs. Look, I have got a set of originals, but I always quite like these, and it's minorly lowered because I had to unlower it because it was much worse when I first got it. So what do we do then? Do we give Dolores a reprieve? Sort the interior. You see here the that's the air cooling fan, the electric cooling fan coming on. I think even a minute ago the headlight washers still work. You've got to hand it to 90s German stuff. Do we push some brakes on it? Sorts of paintwork. I mean, the roof was £1,000 10 years ago. I don't know if I can even get one now. Sort the interiors, fix it. Maybe clear the garage at home so Madam can have it back. I do like it. It does look quite cool, doesn't it? I mean, it does smell a mouse in here quite a lot at the moment. I'll leave it down to you. Have a comment. Does it stay? Does it go? Should we do it? Should we not do it? Is it not my type of thing? Suppose the same with the green one. Do you want to see us get the green one out, repair on the fuel lines, put some tyres on it, kick it into life? I mean, it's still got to go. Or do we scrap the green one to repair this one, which would be a shame, because this one would look much nicer with a black leather interior, and the other green one's got a new mohair roof on it. Seems a bit cruel, really. Tell me, best bet, do you want to see how go all four-sprung dirt technical and fix some Audis, or should we just sell them? I know I'm not going to be allowed to sell this as soon as Madam's seen this. Not really much way of stopping that. Anyway, Fudgy's obviously gone home. I really need to go home. So, it's alive. Thank you very much, Al, 6D Diesels.